All right. Shabbat Shalom. Praise the Most High. Um, Start off, get into this fast. This might be long, but I'm here to share. And so I'm in Romans 10. All right. And 10, verse 16. And it says, but they not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah saith, the Most High who have believed our report. So he says, Lord, Master, who have believed our report? So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High. All right. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, truly, their sound went into all the earth and on the web now, on the internet, and their words unto the ends of the world, all throughout the world, the land, the earth. But I say, did not Israel, the Israelites, know? First Moses said, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are not a people. hmm Revelation 2 and 9. The impostors. And by a foolish nation, a foolish people, I will anger you. But Isaiah is very bold, he's strong, and said, I was found of them that sought me not. I was made revealed unto them that asked not after me. But to Israel, the Israelites, he said, all day long I have stretched out. He said, I have stretched out my, I'm sorry, out my hand, I'm sorry, my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people. All right. Israel is disobedient and gainsaying people. Stiff necked, hard headed. All right. You need to repent, dedicate your body, your mind to the Most High. All right. So again, he said, faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High, and hearing the words of Christ. All right. So, um, I got a lot to get into. I'm gonna go. We're gonna start right off in Enoch. All right. That's where we're gonna start off. Enoch 89. All right. Verse uh, 39. All right. It says, and I saw till they left off crying for that sheep and crossed that stream of water. And there arose the two sheep as leaders in the place of those which led them and fallen asleep, or had fallen asleep and led them. And I saw till the sheep came to a goodly place and a pleasant and glorious land. A pleasant and glorious land. What land is that? Palestine. And I saw till those sheep were satisfied. Those sheep were full. And that house stood amongst them in the pleasant land. What pleasant land? Palestine. So this is just journeys through the wilderness and the law giving on Sinai and the occupation of Palestine. All right. That pleasant land, the glorious land, Palestine. All right. Let's read Daniel real quick. All right. So I'm in Daniel 11. All right. Daniel 11, verse 16. The Syrian king will march onward unopposed, not stopped. All right. He's just going to go straight through. The Syrian king will march onward unopposed. None will be able to stop him. And he will also enter the glorious land. The glorious land is Palestine, the glorious land of Israel, and pillage it, rob it. All right. Let's go to verse 45. Or matter of fact, I'm sorry, verse 41 first. And he will invade various lands on the way. All right. Conquer various lands, take over various lands, including Israel and the pleasant land, Palestine, and overthrow the governments of many nations. How many nations? Many nations, people. All right. And verse 45. He will halt between Jerusalem. All right. He's going to position himself between Jerusalem and the sea and there pitch his royal tents. But while he is there, his time will suddenly run out. He's going to suddenly die. He's going to be cut off. And there will be no one to help him. All right. I'm going to read 12 just because. And at that time, Michael, the mighty angelic prince who stands guard, who protects over your nation, Israelites, or Israel, will stand up and fight for you in heaven, in Shemayim, against satanic forces. All right, the princes of the power of the air, all right, the Satans, the demons. And there will be a time of anguish, pain for the Israelites, not the impostors. There will be a time of anguish for the Israelites greater than any previous sufferings in Israelite history. All right. Jacob's trouble. And still, every one of your people whose names are written in the book will endure it, will get through. All right. They're going to make it through. All right. Now, I was in Enoch 89. I said verse 39 and 40. We read that. Um, and that was showing you Moses and Aaron. All right. They crossed that stream of water. And there arose the two sheep as leaders in the place of those which had led them and fallen asleep. They died and have fallen asleep and led them. And I saw till the sheep came to a goodly place, right, in a pleasant and glorious land. And I saw till those sheep were filled, and those stood amongst them in the pleasant land. Let's get some more on that pleasant land. All right, let's get some more on that pleasant land. Let's jump up to Enoch 90. That's an X and a C. Enoch 90. All right. In verse 20, it says, and I saw till a throne was erected. A what was erected? A throne in the pleasant land. What pleasant land? Palestine. And the Most High of the sheep, the master of the sheep, sat himself thereon. He sat on the throne. And the other took the sealed books. He took the what? The sealed books. Let me read the note. The pleasant land, i.e., Palestine. All right. The Most High's throne is set up in Jerusalem. Verse 28 and 29. Let's read it. It says, and I stood up, all right, to see till they folded up the old house. What happened? They folded up the old house and carried off all the pillars and all the beams and ornaments of the house, were at the same time folded up with it. And they carried it off and laid it in a place in the south of the land. And I saw till the Most High, or the Master of the sheep, brought a new house greater and higher than the first, and set it up in the place of the first, which had been folded up. All its pillars were new, praise the Most High, and its ornaments were new and larger than those of the first. All right. The old one which he had taken away, and all the sheep were in it. All the sheep, don't you want to be those sheep? You want to be the sheep that are in it. All the sheep were in it. Praise the Most High. All right. So the Most High's throne is set up in Jerusalem. The books are open, as in Daniel 7 and 10, right? The Messiah, Yasha, does not appear till after the judgment. All right. So let's go back. It says, and the other took the sealed books. He took all the sealed books, mhm, and opened those books before the master of the sheep. And the Lord called those men, all right, and the seven first white ones, and commanded that they should bring before him, beginning with the first star, which led the way, all right, the path of all the stars, all right, whose privy members were like those of horses. And they brought them all before him in front of him. And he said to that man who wrote before him, being one of those seven white ones, and said to him, take those 70 shepherds to whom I delivered the sheep, I gave my sheep, and who, taking them on their own authority, their own power, and slew more, they killed more than I commanded them. And behold, they were all bound, right? I saw, and they all stood before him, and the judgment was held first over the stars. Who's going to get judged first? The stars. hmm The fallen stars. All right. And they were judged and found guilty. They were found guilty, right? And went to the place of condemnation. And they were thrown into a abyss, a sea, an ocean full of fire and flaming and full of pillars of fire. Uh-huh. And those 70 shepherds were judged also, and found guilty. They weren't innocent. They were found what? Guilty. Right? Hell has enlarged itself. It was created for Hasatan and his angels. hmm But these apostates, uh-huh, they're going to get destroyed, right, with the fallen ones. And they were cast into the fiery abyss, the fiery sea, the ocean. And I saw at that time how a like abyss was opened in the middle of the earth, full of fire. And they brought those blind sheep, those blinded followers, mhm, of the false prophets, mhm, and they were all judged and found guilty. They weren't innocent. They were found guilty. The blood was on their hands. All these pastors and priests, and so-called prophets, and thrown into this fiery ocean, sea, abyss, and they burned. They were on fire. Now, this abyss, this ocean of fire, was to the right of that house. hmm And I saw those sheep burning, and their bones burning, and their bones burning. Yeah, their very selves, a Hebrew idiom, their very selves were burning for what they taught, what they preached, what they spoke. All right, against the Most High Elohim, Yah, Iye, Ashah, Iye, Ahaya. All right, the Ancient of Days, the Lord of Spirits. All right. So again, the throne was erected in the pleasant land. What is that glorious land, that pleasant land? It's Palestine, the pleasant land. All right. So now I want to go back. Go back. And I want to go to XC. That's 90 and verse 6. All right. But behold, lambs were born by those white sheep, and they began to open their eyes and to see and to cry to the sheep. Yeah, they cried to them, but they did not hearken. They didn't even listen to what they said to them. All right. So the sheep was crying, but their rulers, uh, their masters, didn't respond to them, but were exceedingly deaf. They could not hear, and their eyes were very exceedingly blinded. They couldn't see. Okay. There's many that will be come in Christ's name, you know, and they're blind, right? But it says what they said to them, they could not hear. Exceedingly, they were deaf, and their eyes, they weren't seers. Their eyes, they were blinded. They were exceedingly blinded. All right, these pastors, all right, so-called apostles, so-called prophets, all right. It says, many will come in my name and will deceive many. All right. That's what I was trying to get. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And I saw in the vision how the ravens flew upon those lambs and took one of those lambs and dashed the sheep in pieces and devoured them, destroyed them. And I saw till horns grew upon those lambs, and the ravens threw down their horns. And I saw till there sprouted a great horn of one of those sheep, and their eyes were open, they can see. And it looked at them, and their eyes opened, and it cried to the sheep. You see what's going on? You see this? They ain't keeping the law. And the ram saw it, and all ran to it. Mm. And notwithstanding all this, those eagles and vultures and ravens and kites still kept tearing the sheep. They kept attacking the sheep and swooping down upon them and devouring them, the sheep. Still, the sheep remained silent. They were quiet. But the rams cried, lamented, they cried and cried out. They praised and cried out. They was worshiping the Most High. They're crying because of the affliction. And those ravens fought and battled with it and sought to lay low its horn, but they had no power over it. All right. This is part of the Maccabean revolt. All right. Um, if you have time, you go study and you can go into the parable and find out, who's the ram, who's the sheep, and all that. You should know these things. I'm not gonna go all into that. Um, I'll give you this though. The horned lambs, And the note says, must be the Maccabees, and the great horn must be Judas Maccabeus. All right. The lambs cried to the sheep, but the sheep did not cry to them, but they oppressed them. But they did not hear them, but the sheep did not cry to them. hmm There was some funny business going on. We're going to read about the funny business that was going on in that time. Um, let me, let's see, 72. Go to go to Enoch. Let's see, 89, 64 to 90. Let's go to uh, 89, 72. And it says, and forthwith I saw how the shepherds pastured for 12 hours, and behold, three of those sheep turned back and came and entered and began to build up all that had fallen down of that house. But the wild boars, right, they equal Edomites, tarried to hinder them, to stop them. But they were not able to stop them. And they began again to build as before. All right. So wild boars, they equal Edomites, but they also equal the Samaritans. Your own people will get into in your way. All right. Well, they followed the customs of the Israelites, but they weren't Israelites. So they're like Christians. When times get rough, they don't want to be Israelites, right? Everybody wants to be a nigga, but when it's time to be a nigga, they don't want to be a nigga no more, right? That's the only way I could explain it. But let me read it again. But the wild boars, Edomites or Samaritans, I say both, tarried to hinder them. I'm sorry, they tried to hinder them. They tried to stop them from building the house, right? But they were not able to stop them. And they began again to build as before, right? And they reared up the tower, and it was named the High Tower. And they began again to place a table before the tower, but all the bread on it was polluted. Right? What did they do when they took over the temple? They polluted it with what? With swine, pig, all types of food that's unclean and not pure. That's what these people are doing in the houses built by man's hand. The Lord's not in that temple. You can't be putting defiled things in your temple. You can't speak foul things out of your temple, right? Sometimes you got to fast in your temple. This flesh, this body is just a vehicle till you get to the eternal, right? The eternal spirit come out this body. But anyway, the bread on it was polluted. It was defiled, nasty, and not pure, not holy. And as touching all this, the eyes of those sheep were blinded. The followers of Christ, the followers of the Most High, they were blinded so that they saw not. And the eyes of their shepherds likewise, these pastors, apostles, all these denominations and prophets and all that, false prophets, they could not see. And they delivered them in large numbers. They gave them over in large numbers to their shepherds for what? Destruction. Take the shot, take the jab, uh, whatever else, politics, get into politics. Their shepherds led them for destruction, and they trampled the sheep, right? They took the sheep's money, right? They trampled the sheep with their feet. How did they do this? By making merchandise of the people. and they devoured them. They ate them up. Little by little, they destroyed them, made them, you know, very poor. Um, some of them raped them in the churches. Some of them kicked them out of the churches, temple. And the Lord, the master of the sheep, remained unmoved till all the sheep were dispersed over the field and mingled with them. Mingled with who? It says, i.e., the beasts, the other nations. And they, i.e., the shepherds, did not save them out of the hand of the beasts. Right? Some of them didn't even save them out of the hand of the beast. They were giving them over to Babylon, over to the pagan traditions and worships, and, 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 and praising on Sunday. All right. And this one who wrote the book carried it up and showed it and read it before the Lord of the sheep, the master of the sheep, and asked him on their account, on their judgment, and asked him on their judgment account as he showed him all the doings, he showed him all the actions of the shepherds, the leaders, and gave testimony, evidence, proof before him against all the shepherds. hmm Right? The book's gonna be open, the angels, the messengers, right? They're gonna give their testimony. They ain't gonna be false witnesses, they're gonna be true witnesses against all the shepherds, the leaders. And he took the actual book and laid it down. He got upset. He took the actual book and laid it down beside him and he left. He got out of there. All right. That's interesting. The bread was polluted. Malachi 1 and 7. Polluted bread, i.e., unclean offerings because of the unworthy and heathenized people and priesthood, the false priesthood. Different people took over the priesthood, right? All right. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. So now, is there any more that I want to give y'all? Let's see what else he saw. Let's go to XC 13. And Enoch, he says, I saw till the shepherds and eagles had those vultures and kites came, and they cried to the ravens, and they shouted, break the horn of the ram. And they battled and fought with it, and it battled with them, and cried that its help might come. Hmm. And I saw, Enoch saw, till a great sword was given. Uh-oh. A great what? A great sword was given. No, we ain't talking about Percy Jackson. All right. No, we talking about Judas Maccabee was given a great sword. All right. Let me get that. Let's get that out of the Apocrypha. That's in your Bible, your 1611. All right. I'm going to stop right here real quick and we're going to read that. Um, let's get it. Let's get it. Um, Second Maccabees chapter 15 XV, and we're gonna read uh, 12, and this was his vision that Onias, which when we read Josephus, his name is Menelaus. But anyway, Onias, who had been high priest, a virtuous and a good man, reverend in conversation and gentle in condition, well spoken also and exercised from a child in all points of virtue, holding up his hands, prayed for the whole body of the Jews, the Israelites. This done in like manner, there appeared a man with gray hairs and exceeding glorious, who was of a wonderful and excellent majesty. Then Onias answered, saying, This is a lover of the brethren, who prayeth much for the people and for the holy city, to which Jeremiah, the prophet of the Most High. Whereupon Jeremiah, holding out his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold, and in giving it spake thus. Some say it was Michael, but here it says Jeremiah. Take this holy sword, a gift from the Most High, Yah, Elohim, with the which you shall wound the adversary. You're going to wound the enemy, all right, with the sword. Thus, being well comforted by the words of Judas, which were very good, and able to stir them up to a valor and to encourage the hearts of the young men, they determined not to pitch camp, but courageously to set upon them, and manfully to try the matter by conflict war, because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger. The sheep was ready to fight. All right, for the care that they took for their wives and their children and their brethren and kinfolks, all right, and was in least account with them. But the greatest and principal fear was for the holy temple. All right, they was gonna fight for the holy temple of the Most High. All right, now we gotta dedicate our bodies and fight for that temple and fight to endure to um, into the kingdom, the new Jerusalem that's going to come down and be with the temple of the Most High and His Son, Yahshua, Christ. All right, now let's get back to where we was at in Enoch 90. All right, the last assault of the Gentiles on the Israelites. All right, and this time it's going to happen again. We're going to have Jacob's trouble. Don't get it confused. 19, verse 19, it says, And I saw till a great sword was given to the sheep, and the sheep proceeded against all the beasts, right? And I'm going to tell you something. The real great sword is going to be given from the Most High, and it was given from the Most High. But when this sword comes back in return, all you're going to do is open up his mouth, and all their inventions and technology is going to be destroyed by the law that comes out his mouth, that is like unto fire. That's in Second Esdras. That's off the top of the dome. I'm not saying it right, but he's going to burn up everything in his coming. All right. Yasha, the Son of the Most High. hmm And I saw till a great sword, was given to the sheep. Who are the sheep? The Israelites. All right. And those who convert and hold the skirt of the Israelites, the Yahudim. And the sheep proceeded against all the beasts of the field, of the world, the land, to slay them. Who are these beasts? The serpent seeds, the demons, the Hasatan, the giants, the titans, the Nephilim. All right? To slay them. And all the beasts and the birds of heaven, Shemayim, fled before their face. They're going to run. They're going to try to escape, right? And I saw till that man who wrote down the names of the shepherds, mhm, and carried up into the presence of the Lord of the sheep, the master of the sheep, came and helped it and showed it everything he had come down for the help of that ram. All right, at that time. That ram is Judah Maccabees, right? He encouraged him and gave him strength. But let's read it over here in this Greek. It says, and I saw that man who wrote the book according to the command of the Most High, till he opened the book concerning the destruction which those 12 last shepherds had wrought, and showed that they had destroyed much more than their uh, predecessors before the Lord of the sheep. And I saw till the Lord of the sheep came unto them in wrath and anger. And all who saw him, they ran, and they all fell unto his shadow from before his face. Mm. Let's read it again. And it says, and I saw till the Lord of the sheep, the master, came unto them, and took in his hand the staff of his wrath, and hit the earth, and the earth clave asunder in half, and all the beasts, the false prophets, the serpent, Hasatan, the adversaries, the enemies, the Satans, the demons, and all the birds of the heaven, the sky, fell from among those sheep and were swallowed up. They were swallowed up where? In the pit, in the earth, and it covered them. Mm. All right. It covered them like Korah and them, right? Y'all remember that? Hmm. Mm. Before the Lord of the sheep. The Most High Himself destroys Israel's last foes like Korah and his followers. Numbers um, 16:31. Mm. This is the first act of the final judgment. The remaining acts are quite forensic. That's in the notes, but right. The staff smote the earth. Recall Numbers 20 and 11. While the earth clave asunder in half. Recall Numbers 16:31 to 33. Mm. Maybe we need to look at that, but I'm just gonna keep reading. uh, that might be hot, but I got so much that I want to look into. Dang. I got so many places I'm holding. Let me grab something. That's hot right there. Uh, let me get numbers right there. Let me get that. That's kind of fire. Numbers start. What does it say? 16. Let's see. Just trying to get a picture. Um, I just wanted y'all to hear today. I'll screen all black, but hopefully somebody's listening and getting some edification. Number 16:31. He had hardly finished speaking the words when the ground suddenly split open. All praises beneath them, and a great fissure swallowed them up, along with their tents and families and the friends who were standing with them, and everything they owned. Damn. So they went down alive into Sheol. All right, hell, Hades, the underworld. And the earth closed upon them, and they perished. They what? They perished. Mm. All right, let's get 20. And it says 2. Let's read that. There was not enough water to drink at the place, so the people again rebelled against Moses and Aaron. A great mob formed was created, and they held a protest meeting. Mm-mm-mm. Uh, wow. Okay. So, let's keep moving. Um, let's keep moving, right? Where's our going? Dang. Uh, yeah. Okay. Now let's go back a little bit now. And it says, and I saw till the Most High of the sheep came unto them in anger, and all who saw him fled; they ran, and they all fell into his shadow from before his face. But in the Greek, I think this one is the Greek. It says, I saw till the master of the sheep, which is the Most High, came unto them, and took in his hand, right? Hand means the power, the staff of his wrath, his anger, and he hit the earth, and the earth cleft, separated, right? It broke in two parts, and all the beasts and all the birds of heaven fell from among those sheep, mm, and were swallowed up in the earth, and it covered them. Praise the Most High. The Most High is going to protect his people wherever they be, but we should be found in his borders, right? But the Most High can do whatever he wants, right? Nothing's impossible for our Elohim. Okay, let's read XC 28 to 42. And then we're going to go into the Maccabees. All right. So the New Jerusalem, the conversion of the surviving Gentiles. Uh-oh, you camps. There's going to be surviving Gentiles, righteous ones. The resurrection of the righteous, right? And the Messiah. Enoch awakes and he cries because what he's seen. 28. And I stood up to see till they folded up the old house, the old temple, the old tabernacle, the old body, right? And carried off all the pillars and all the beams and the ornaments of the house were at the same time folded up with it, and they carried it off and laid it in a place in the south of the land. And I saw till the Most High of the sheep brought a new house, a greater and loftier than that first, and set it up in the place of the first which had been folded up. All its pillars were new, and its ornaments with pure gold, were new and larger than those of the first. The old one which had been taken away, and all the sheep were in it. All the sheep that were sealed with the seal of the living power were in it. All the other sheep that wanted to follow these other religions, these other gods, uh-huh, they weren't in it, and they were destroyed. All right. And I saw all the sheep which had been left, and all the beasts on the earth, and all the birds of the heaven falling down. They were what? Falling down and doing homage. They were doing respect to those sheep and making petition prayers to and obeying them in everything. They were doing what? Obeying them in everything. They were holding on the skirt of the Yahudim, and they were obeying everything that they say. You worship the master, you worship the king of the universe. We're going to follow you. We're going to do as you say. Miraculously, they changed their tune. They repented. And thereafter, those three who were clothed in white had seized me, taken me by my hand, said Enoch, who had taken me up before. They took him up in the spirit, and the hand of that ram also seizing hold of me. All right. Um, the when you look at the note, it says that ram seemingly it could be Elijah. Don't know. You have to look at. I think this is 89:52, verse 52. Let me look at that. 89. Let's go there real quick. I don't know why, but 89:52. And one of them was saved, and one was not killed, and it sped away and cried aloud over the sheep, and they sought to kill it, but the Most High of the sheep saved it from, from the sheep, and brought it up to me, and caused it to dwell there. And many other sheep he sent to those sheep, to many messiahs, right? Many shepherds, many leaders, right? Prophets, right? To testify unto them, the sheep, mm, and cry over them all praises. Hmm. I'm gonna read this one too. And after that, I saw that when they forsook the house of the Most High and his tower, they fell away entirely to pagan gods, and leaving the commandments, and their eyes were blinded; they cannot see. And I saw the Lord, the master of the sheep, how he wrought much slaughter amongst them and their herds, until those sheep invited that slaughter and betrayed his place. And he gave them over into the hands, the Most High gave them over into the hands of the what? The lions, Satans, and tigers, and wolves, and hyenas. If you go in the notes, they got, and hyenas, let's see real quick. Lions at that time, and tigers, Assyrians and Babylonians, right? All right. But I'm using it in today's time. Satan's, Nephilim, demons, all these false prophets, these uh, wicked leaders right now in Israel. All right. And into the hands of the foxes, and to all the wild beasts. And those wild beasts began to tear in piece those sheep. And I saw that he forsook their house and their tower, and gave them all into the hand of the lions to tear and devour them, mm. into the hand of all the wild beasts, the Nephilim, the demons, the specters and Shadims, and the Pharmakeet, all right, and the Jab, all right. And I began to cry aloud with all my power to appeal to the Elohim of the sheep, and to represent to him in regarding to the sheep. What's going on with the flock? Crying about the flock, that they were devoured. He's crying that they're getting destroyed by all the wild beasts. But he remained unmoved. He didn't care. He's like, yo, they don't even care about me. Though he saw it, the Most High, he see it, and he laughed that they were devoured